Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Lord, tonight I thank you for your blessing on our lives, your presence. And we pray every month for wisdom that we can lead the people of this municipality. We thank you for it. Amen. Shall we start the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any comments this evening?
No.
I'd like to welcome Natalie with us this evening. Does any commissioner have a conflict of interest concerning agenda items the board will discuss during this meeting? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to accept the approval of the consent agenda.
I make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no no's, it is unanimous. There is no old business, so we will drop into new business, and I'll ask our manager, was you gonna add something to the agenda?
Yes, sir. We'd like to entertain a motion to review the preliminary floor plan of the green space project and get a quorum of what we came up with so far, so we can move forward and get cost estimates and everything. We had a meeting at 2 o'clock today to go over it, so didn't want to wait another month.
Okay. We'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. First order of business is a resolution for the Hispanic Heritage Horse Parade.
Yes, sir. The annual parade that we've been supporting the last few years is in front of you. Padre Javier, very nice letter that's in your packet that he wrote. Here's the parade route. September 14th, 11:30 to 1:30. They provide all their own internal logistics, cleanup, everything. It's become quite the popular event. And right back, it starts at basically the old, over by the granite shop. Come around, but we will close 7:05 briefly for that hour and a half, and it comes back around Virginia Street, and then it ends. And then they casually take the back street over to their church. But again,
Okay.
always a good turnout. All the commissioners are invited. If you haven't been there to eat, I highly recommend it because it is a blowout festival. But yes, that is the motion on the table, sir.
Okay, then we'll ask, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next order of business is budget amendments for 1, 2, and 3. We'll take these one at a time.
Okay, sir. So, yeah, bear with me. I know it's a lot of numbers, but we received our actual payment. We received notification a couple months ago, our actual payment for reimbursement for management and staff costs for FEMA-related projects for Hurricane Florence, $76,595. Basically broke it up. We had a lot of increase in costs during the budget year, not increase in anything specific, just the cost of everything. So the Fund 10 expenditures are for annual raises and annual reviews that are coming up throughout the year. I basically streamlined during the budget season to keep us under. Also, we had we had an 11% increase to our a little bit of workman's comp, but mostly our property insurance and liability plan. This was a reevaluation year. They're gonna come and reevaluate. However, the temporary plan we had for our FEMA projects expired, so we had to add the wastewater treatment plant upgrades and the main pump station upgrade, which is almost a $2 million project. So that increased our insurance policy by $13,000 overall. So we have budgeted a portion in Fund 30, and the way I allocate it is to keep that in Fund 10, so they don't touch each other, and that'll supplement the rest of the policy. The good thing is it is a reevaluation, so they're coming out to physically inspect. It's been a while. I don't know if they coordinated before, but they're supposed to do it like every 3 years. Was it 3 or 5? 5 years. So it's been 10 since they came out. So they'll physically inspect and reevaluate the value of some of these. So judging by the amounts they had on their first spreadsheet, again, they just keep increasing every year. Now we'll get them to get an actual property evaluation on the assessment. So That is, and then last year, we allocated the funds, a little over, we're trying to save between $10,000 and $15,000, so the remaining, we put into, for a side-by-side, so the guys can work in, not use trucks on the sewer line, outfall, that 8-mile stretch they have to inspect routinely, and so we can use the attachments we got from the baseball field, so we can work on that. We tried to use the backhoe, it's just too heavy, we dig more ditches than we do, but we've got the grader, the field sweeper, we got all the attachments, but we're gonna need something lighter to work on the baseball field. So this will be, we actually can use it for anything, but again, it's just a lightweight UTV side by side. And then 25 grand just to put in our strategic reserve for this budget year, like we did last year. Again, just to offset some of the things, we knew this money was coming, so it kind of helped our budget season, so we can put that off, knowing we're gonna get these funds. So that's budget amendment number 1.
Okay. Any questions by our manager regarding that? Then we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, motion carries. Budget amendment number 2.
All right, so I'm actually pretty excited about this, not to spend money, but if you think about it, the first thing that one of the weaknesses we had as far as, I call troops to task, our labor efforts, is meters. This is what you guys might remember David was starting to do an upgrade, a retrofitted upgrade, which was good. It was a good Band-Aid, but we're running into a problem. We bought 300 of these and got about 250 of them installed. The batteries on them that are shelf stable actually only last about a year. So we're putting these in still as we see them because they just stop, but they're dying. This is no longer available. We can't retrofit this meter with this type of technology anymore. Even more so, the software that adapts to, that does it, is they don't make any updates for it. So we're down to about 72 drive-by meters out of 652. So that's been on my mind for 3 years. So we added, you guys remember, we added a total of 350, totaling of 421 meters to the water project in September coming up. So what we did was we cost allocated the abandoned line we found on Hemp Street, so that kind of freed up some money. We're pretty happy with the bids because some material prices come down. So we are fairly certain, if any cost to the town, will be very low to replace all 652 meters in the town. That's huge. What's gonna cost us is if we don't know what type, what make, what model, what size we need. There's no record of that. So we have these, we have what the state requires, which is a serial number and address. We have all that, but what I don't wanna do is get into this thing, we inventoried as much as we can with the data and by visual, but most of them are 3/4 inch. Well, 1 inch is like, that much bigger. So they're gonna dig a hole and buy a bunch of the wrong things, and we're gonna end up doing a ton of change orders. This project right here does a bunch of things. One, it gives us the data we need for the current inventory that is going to set us up for success for the overall meter replacement. I did not want to use, we had an idea that we could use some of that freed up money from the project, but we changed the scope of the state, have to wait for its approval, and that would just be taken away from buying more of these. So we can go ahead and get the inventory if we pay out of pocket now and have it set up, ready to go. The biggest advantage is this also simultaneously knocks out our lead and copper inventory that's required. Right now, this USG, because we have an existing relationship and we have them, they handle our water towers, they're only gonna charge $33 a pothole. They're gonna have to dig a pothole and check for lead. The first cost estimate we got was $88, and other towns are quoting $120 to $180 per house. So 33, because it's encompassed in this whole part of what we're gonna be doing later, it seems very cost effective and it's gonna save us money down the road. And effectively, I've got all the information if y'all wanna see, but we're working towards an AMI system. AMI system is gonna be this cellular system where basically our guys aren't gonna be on the street getting hit by cars or risk getting hit by cars, or I think he read it wrong, or that one was dirty, it was a 2, not a 5. And April will be able to say, oh, it's the first, download, done. Print bills. The customers, when we're all said and done, will have a portal where they can literally track all their water by day, actually by hour, So if there's a spike, we'll get an alarm, hey, well, that one went from this to this. I mean, there's so many user-friendly additions to it that is gonna free up. Most of our time is doing reads and rereads. It's meter reading a week. And then when the bills go out, we have another reread week. You know, of just going and saying, look, ma'am, it is what it is. So, obviously, this project is kind of multi-tiered. I'm just happy that we and the staff could kind of kill two birds with one stone at a really effective price that we're expecting more, closer to $100,000 contract. But we're gonna really be in a good place setting up for the actual water project, in September. So, John reviewed this, John Gray reviewed it, understood it, has done this same project as far as the inventory, was highly advocate for it and said, yeah, because we don't have this data, we really should use it. And again, yeah, it's gonna be really beneficial for Public Works.
The information is picked up on Wi-Fi?
Cellular. So it's cellular, but it's on the emergency band. There's a certain amount of band that's reserved. The other thing is we already done the cell phone analysis, like USG, I don't wanna sound like I advocate for them, but out of all the brands, they use whatever brand is best. They don't have like one brand, like, I don't wanna say it out loud. They buy whatever sense. So we have actually 4 primary cell, y'all know, 4 cell carriers that cover the whole region. They have the ones like this one, Phoenix. It's compatible to all 4, not just one contract to Verizon, which is where other towns I've talked to are running into trouble. Oh, left side, east side's good, west side's bad, because they don't have Verizon over there. This company specifically, who will do the bids through the Wooten, but they will, that was why I like them. I was like, we know we don't have great cell service here, but it's any cell service in area. I got a map at the office where it shows all the ink blots, like it covers everything, so.
All right, quick question.
Yeah.
So are we gonna run into down the road where it gets outdated and then we're in a mess again?
Most likely. I mean, you want my honest opinion, but this is why I'm not backtracking to just do the upgraded
Right.
radio, because if that's already phasing out, why would I just go to like radio part 2, you know, 2.0, when the AMI is gonna be the wave of the future. I foresee in my estimate, my cost estimate, we're gonna get at least 10 to 15 years out of this new system, and we can replace it. Part of the contract, which we haven't decided, but when it does come, there were advantages to this. It's not just meters, it's asset management, so it's more of like an insurance to help with replacement. We're kind of using a third party to do a lot more than meter stuff at an annual rate. But what it is, I haven't really, we're going in phases, you know, but overall, the technology pitch is the AMI with a multi-band receiver is what everyone's using and using the most successful. So, yeah, I don't want to do this again, like
Yeah,
time-wise.
I'm just saying, like, you know,
I'm open.
a few years, it's like, oh, by the way.
Yeah,
this
like I
is
said,
outdated.
the other one was a Band-Aid, and it was very beneficial at the time. I mean, it took half the houses away, but we can't mimic we can't get the same results. I mean, we even bought a new Tough Book for that old software, but it's gonna be old software.
So Clint, do we have an idea of what the AMI system is gonna cost?
So the overall cost hopefully is going to be taken care of by the grant. The annual cost, it ranges anywhere between 15 to 15,000. For ours, again, he gave me a rough estimate, he thinks it might be like $4,000 a year for the maintenance and be involved in the program. Now, like I said, it's a hard quote. He didn't want to give me a direct quote, but again, but for what we're paying for and going back out to check meters, you know, I mean, it was an easy cost analysis. We're hours, you know, all the stuff that we like on Farmers Day, we clean up the town and stuff, we'll be able to kind of hit that standard daily because we got an extra week.
So did I understand, you said on the top end, as much as 15,000 a year,
Correct.
and that's total?
But it's
cost?
so he's talking, again, it's hard to say because we haven't done the bids yet. He just kind of gave us a town our size, 652 meters, could be 4,500 a year. And again, that's a cost, but I'll show you guys the cost comparison when that time comes. But I did want to relay, I'm setting this up for a bigger project. This is going to help facilitate if we pay out of pocket now.
Any other questions for, then we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Unanimous, the motion carries. Budget amendment number 3.
All right, so here's a feel-good one. Rarely, we don't always get good financial news, so this is always good. So finally, we close out, here's a certificate of completion for the main pump station. We effectively came in under budget. It was a $1.3 million project. We used some of our internal resources like fire, myself and Chief Brown being the safety officers for blasting sites. That saved us an immense amount of money. Hiring a contractor, I think he was supposed to come from Missouri to just say, go ahead and pull the trigger. I've had range control, used safety officer, we did traffic control for all the projects. There's our guy right there. Instead of hiring contractors for flagmen, we used police escorts. So that saved us $300,000 total, which we were awarded that sum back to us. The other thing, the reimbursables for just vehicle usage, labor costs, you know, they didn't always have their dozen guys that the contract said, so our guys had to do a lot of the work and help them. All that stuff was logged and kept abreast and turned in. So we got, for just the main pump station, a total of basically round up $75,000 in reimbursements. Now, included with the other 2 projects that just closed out, right now we're sitting in a FEMA account, and Courtney, check my math, don't worry. She's just a small one. We're sitting at 3.2 million, and we need to pay back 1.6. The rest we net ourselves. It's sitting in a FEMA account. Right now, we have grossed $126,444.27 in interest alone, just on that money. So I requested, this wasn't closed out last month, it was still in closeout process, so I requested another quarter from LGC before we paid back the state revolving loan. It'll probably be a year before they actually get to the memo. They just put it like on holding status. But if we get another quarter of that account, I'm fine with paying it back in interest because we still have another nest egg in there that once the audit's done, we'll roll that into, you know, the general fund. Very excited about that. Again, I don't have much plans. There's like, each department had like one capital thing that they missed out on during budget season. I like paying off vehicle, storage building for fire. I requested that stuff. But overall, I mean, I think y'all can take the month to think about it. I think the only other request I'm gonna present to y'all is, get the Elliott Jean Park up and going. We have that money, we have this was a nice bonus on top of, now that I feel good. Had a meeting with FEMA to make sure this wasn't Robbinsville, Robbins, North Carolina. And yeah, it was all confirmed and it showed me the breakdown, so I'm happy. A lot of the citizen things we talked about during budget season, with y'all's approval coming up, I think we can really knock out some big targets here. But the reason why I need a budget amendment is because there's so much, it came to a physical check, usually it's ACH, so because it's over $500,000, we have to put it in our Fidelity account, and we need to move it now to the Capital Management Trust account.
Any questions for our manager? We will entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item for business, number C, is contract to USG for water meter survey.
That was basically tied to the budget amendment, so if it's, that would be fine. So same contract, that's the money, approval is good, or if you want to vote for that, that's what's going to.
We still need a motion for that?
Yeah, it'd be better, it's contract, yes, sir.
Okay. Do we entertain a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? That motion carries. And then, what you wanted to add to the agenda? There was something else you wanted to add?
Oh, yes, so we talked about last month getting the contract for the green space bathroom. I was gonna say the tree. Adams Associates, man, they are quick and they are fast and they are motivated. They came up with 2 initial concepts. One is a floor plan. This one is very, very nice, cool. You'll see that it's option 1. The staff kind of are leaning towards, our recommendation to you is option 2, only because mainly we adjusted the utility room to be on the back side and increased that space a little bit so we can have some more storage. The concession portion, has their recommendation was, 2 windows, one for like ordering, one for pickup, or if you want to sell t-shirts on one and food at the other. 2 entryways, both will have baby changing stations. For a lack of room, we tried to do a family room, but that would increase the cost pretty high. And they had a good recommendation. They do a lot of schools and field houses and stuff, so they've got a lot of experience in this. And they said usually the family bathroom is the one you gotta worry about the most with vandals. So again, the individual aesthetics of the project will still determine and have all those options. This is just a general floor plan. Of course, I want your buy-in to show, what we're doing, but the space allotted is good. Again, our recommendation is option 2. Option 1, again, just a little bit less in the utility and just a different layout. Option 2 is also will be a little bit cheaper because with with all the toilets on this back wall here, most of the main sewage plumbing will be just on that back wall, easily accessible to the existing line out back right here. So
Clint, is that the majority of the difference is the toilet location?
basically, yes, and like I said, a little more storage, so we can put the audio visual stuff finally in storage.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Any questions?
So that's the internal. So here's also, if you go through different options for the outside thing. Obviously grass, sidewalk, connecting, again, these are rough drafts, just a general overview. Option 1 was staff's recommendation, just because the architecture of the roof and everything fits the green space already, with the A-frame roof. Some brick, they have different shingles and options and colors that we can do, but the overall keeping the gateway to the road with grass. And again, we have all that concrete here. It's kind of become that makeshift parking lot. This would alleviate that. We'll have a nice little grassy area. You can put picnic tables and everything in that area. So option 1, just because of the roof. Option, here's again, you notice the retaining wall. That's where we're going to run into a little bit more cost because, Chief Brown and his guys have already cleared all that stuff out and done an amazing job. I mean, they've cleaned out all that brush, but you can notice it starts real high and it grades down. So they'll grade all that and make it accessible from all and make a retaining wall. And I needed one like 2 years ago and they're freaking expensive. So I just did this. But concessions. Only difference is this one, a little bit more of a modern look, with the sloped roof, really just aesthetics. Our idea with the architecture from the first one is where they got their vision was the green space stage already, so it makes sense. It looks very similar, like the project floats. And the only other one they had was if we want to, again, it'll be a little more, but all brick on the outside. Again, it comes down to personal, but cost and flow of architecture, this option 1 is probably the school book answer. Unless anyone has more disagreement with that or wants to go back to the drawing board.
And do we have a price on that?
What's that?
And do we have a?
No, this will determine, because a lot of it's like the roof, and if that, the concrete to the road and stuff. So we should have one within, I definitely have one by the next meeting. He asked for a project estimate. I told him, look, we would like to stay at 100K-ish, so that could be hard, but maybe doable. And I said, well, we would want a product that we're proud of, that we don't have to repair, like again, epoxy floors, adding the drains, but we can just squirt everything off. Things like that are usable. So I feel like they can do for under 2. And I felt with the money we have in reserve, like that would be pretty
Stainless
accessible.
steel all in there.
What's that?
Stainless steel throughout.
Yeah, gold plated, everything. No, like I said, all this little aesthetics, again, I just like working with this company. They're very easy to work with. They've been very quick. And again, their experience, like, no paper towels, let's do hand dryers, because they throw paper towels everywhere. Simple things like that. And of course, Milliken, we know what issues we have up there, so I'm just like, read a list of all my pains And they're like, yeah, we got the answer for that. Yeah, don't, we got an answer for that.
The only reason I said stainless steel, you know, so they can't mark on the wall.
Yeah,
and all that
exactly,
stuff.
you know.
And you said stainless steel instead of mirrors, right?
Well, yeah, there's like, you know, high polished steel mirrors
Yeah.
now that look like mirrors, but they can't crash them. So I basically said, yeah, do it like we, you know, give us a recommendation of what you would do for like a school.
Bulletproof.
Vandal proof, yeah. So, but, as far as the floor pan, does that sound like any plan to everybody? And then just the outside, again, very standard, the pillars, it flows, some brick, they'll attach it with, outside, to the existing structure, and then all this, I don't know, you wanna call it shiplap or paneling or whatever this is, we'll decide that and have like the options. Yeah. What's that?
Vinyl side.
Yeah, well, I think one of them was, like I said, well, he'll have all those different facade options for us, but the physical layout, I want everybody just, I don't know if it needs a vote, but are we on the right track?
Yeah, we can just acclamation, can't we?
Yeah, I mean, you're not approving anything formal, you're just giving the
I
manager.
got it, so you just put an exterior lights on it.
Oh, yeah, so that, we talked about that today, just the being next to the green space, and see how it's gonna have the overhang, the protection for rain, what are those called, not cone lights, but you know, the canister lights, all the way around, so they're protected and stuff. So, yeah, a lot more options, but overall, I mean, I was excited, I was like, man, just take that building and turn it into that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be huge. Plus with the Boys and Girls Club and stuff, have a viable restroom in there for the kids, not the porta johns. I mean,
Nice.
it's gonna be really nice.
Okay, so you guys good to give?
What was the construction timeframe once they start?
So if we okay it and like the price and everything, they were late September and be done by this, it was like October, like they could fit us in right in there.
Wow.
I don't have their contract with us, but it was like 3 weeks turnaround if we kept pace. And that's why I didn't wanna wait another month for this.
Big old packet that they can send. They had-
So guys, are we good to move forward on this? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, manager, appreciate it. Next item on our agenda is the manager's report.
Yeah, a lot of stuff we've discussed, so far. Couple of things to update since we were, again, storm recovery for FEMA, no significant stuff. We did have Emma Lane and Virginia Street, unfortunately, because they're on Duke Power. I did explain to several citizens, I hope y'all can reiterate, I literally offered Exlium in the Carly C's parking lot and over here, I'll pay you out of our pocket to go work on that power line. Because it makes no sense, I'm getting calls, why are they just sitting there not doing anything? Because they're working for Randolph.
Yep.
And that can be frustrating for a citizen. But we literally said, charge me for it, we'll figure it out, I'll get reimbursed probably anyway. But they wouldn't do it, so it was a day and some change, if not two, but I appreciate all the citizens who did have to go through that. Overall, no significant injuries, you know, we put in some work, fire had the most probably, as far as debris cleanup, public works debris cleanup. Good thing is the state of emergency declaration, I already turned it in, already did our application, we got 6 months to file our costs, so all the overtime for everybody, you know, debris, the cleanup, the new chainsaw, all that stuff affiliated, we'll get reimbursed for all that. That's what FEMA does, because that's what FEMA does, so we know how to leverage those, entities, a lot of good things can happen.
I got a question about the fire thing.
Yes,
Do we have a manager of the Duke area for here?
we do, I can't recall, I think it's Emily, and I ended up calling her, she's like the VP of operations / municipal.
Well, it used to be
Integration.
David McNeil.
Correct.
He retired.
Correct, his replacement, like, so we spoke.
Then you got Wade Jackson, he's the big dog overall, I think. But
What set us apart this time was the priority of Lobelia having such problems and over on that end with they thought the dam was gonna break and they had evacuations and power. So a lot of the things on the southern end is what really hurt. When I called her and said, what is the deal? You said 5 o'clock last night, now it's 3 o'clock today. She gave me the name of the crew that was en route. They showed up that day once we pressured them. And it was a good crew. I talked to the foreman for a while and they worked. They didn't take breaks, they worked. So, just a little bit. And unfortunately, we are just, it sucks, but again, I beat the poll as hard as I can. But when they say, oh, 5,000 are out and you have 18 out, it's kind of hard. But we do that. We do become a pain in people's rear end if they need to be. But, you know, we'll get reimbursements for all that. Brownsfield, we're actually third now. She got 2 more done. She's expecting it won't be until December, until, if not January, because the 2 in front of us are huge projects. So that's fine, because we actually have meetings set with school government and Salisbury. I told you all last month, we're gonna get it right. This is such a great opportunity. So all the experience in this redevelopment, we'll obviously talk to economic development. We're gonna, like I said, get this right. So I know it's been a while, but we had to hit this point before we start entertaining the redevelopment part.
And is that 2 ahead of us to close?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
She just said whatever those are, I don't know by name, are big projects. Fire, I just highlight great work on Farmers Day. I mean, really a low-key, enjoyable, kid-friendly event, and everybody worked so hard. You know, I get emotional talking about Farmers Day, so I won't talk much about it. No, great job and great cleanup. I do owe y'all, I wanted to highlight some of the things. So Chief Haddock gave us about 150 pages worth of data on just the things that happened in the last few years. We correlated some of that. I mean, there's a lot I could still go through, but the main things we want to see is when we're fully staffed and trained is what we narrowed it down to. When fully staffed and trained, you can see the trend, especially marijuana, amphetamines, and opium. You know, yellow is totals, but you can see the steady increase of those things going up. And what it's like, so what, we're getting more. Well, when you look and we break it down, I don't like usually doing this for public, but I thought it was good. Per officer, if you look, Sergeant Hurley, who received the most recent and updated training on traffic stops, police, narcotics investigations, and what was the name of his courses he went to? Specifically?
Detections and hiding spots and all different.
Yeah, I mean, learn where all the hiding spots are. There was last year, again, another increase in arrests. Officer Rosas, our junior officer, is obviously being trained by Sergeant Hurley, and you can see by his felony arrests and what they're for if you go through everything. It's working. When we have enough officers to do community outreach and you know, counter drugs, it's working. That's the basic premise of it. Chief, did you want to add anything to that?
Other than just what they do, I mean, y'all see them. I mean, I don't really need to speak for them. You see them every day out there pulling cars over, being in the public, being seen. And, you know, without that, I don't think we could be as successful as we have been. So, I give it all to them. I mean, they do the work and I just have their back. So, just thank them for it.
Awesome. Yeah, so again, these are the results. If anybody thinks it's good to just not have a police force, I don't know where those numbers would be if we didn't have our guys doing that, because they care and they're on the street every day. Moving along, so infrastructure stuff. Hey, the culvert repair is complete. However, I didn't sign off on the final inspection because I think it needs more asphalt. It's still got a little, it's settled a little. It's still like, I'm not going to sign off on it when it's still got a little dip in it. So they should be out here. He's going to try to get a crew out here next week to re-level it, and then I'll sign off on the final. So y'all know Governor Cooper actually signed signed an order claiming this month to be equity and economic development. So in support of that, since Natalie's here, I just asked her to give her an update on some of the things that we got going on, you remember from a while ago, and anything else that y'all want to ask.
Okay.
Don't want to stand up or can I talk from here? What's your preference?
Wherever you're comfortable.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me here. I did want to give you an update. We, I guess 2 years ago, got a Golden Leaf grant to identify some potential industrial or business parks in and around the Robbins area. And I wanted to let you know that we have had some discussions with a property owner. We ordered an appraisal of the property. and got that appraisal in June 30th, and we met with the property owners up here. We had lunch a couple weeks ago, and there's an interest in them potentially either selling their property or giving us, my organization, an option to purchase that property. It's a 42-acre site, which is part of a larger 237-acre site that Golden Leaf, that the Golden Leaf Foundation identified. So we're pretty excited and hopeful about that. We have asked our legislators for some help with funding from the state of North Carolina to help us move this particular site forward. If we're able to negotiate the price, there's a little bit of difference on what the appraised value is and what the property owner would like to receive. If we can come to terms on a price and enter into an option agreement, then we would immediately proceed for another Golden Leaf grant to do some due diligence studies on the site, do the wetlands delineation, check for endangered species, those kinds of things, do phase 1 environmental assessment. And then, if all of that comes back and the kind of financial analysis says, yeah, we think this could be a viable, business park site, Golden Leaf has another $1.5 million grant that we could use to extend Robbins water and sewer lines that are nearby. I'll say they're proximate to the site, less than half a mile away. Then we could extend the water and sewer into the site with some of those funds. So that's pretty exciting news. And we've tried to deal with multiple sites throughout Moore County, and this property owner is really willing to work with us. So, and it's in a site that we reviewed before, so we're excited about that. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about where the Brownfield program stands. Could you give me a little bit of update on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's our 11 acres where Growler leases it from us right now as a storage facility. Yeah. He understands completely like the situation. Once I get a good 90-day notice, like he understands the situation. But yeah, I mean, the overall goal, the initial thing is redevelopment. The change in the law was no single-family homes, but multifamily or industry. So again, we're looking to see, again, is it industrial? Personally, just my professional standpoint, with the industrial sites we have and are working on, and that being just center of it's kind of that old school concept, neighborhoods around the business, the industry. We're kind of leaning towards that price point, affordable housing, at current market, not below.
In terms of the intended reuse of the property?
Correct.
Okay. Have you negotiated a Brownfields agreement?
So that's we're third, we're second.
Okay, so you're, okay.
So she's looking at December, January.
Okay.
But gave us the okay to any of the developers that are familiar with this. They know that they can make concessions into the agreement. So she said, go ahead, and we're meeting this month for RFP advice with the school government and everything. Salisbury, again, is like, we literally got a almost mimic project going at the same time, so we're kind of teaming up. And again, just seeing where our options are. This has been a long time coming, but we want to make sure we get it right.
It's a long process.
Yeah.
As you probably are very well aware, and not cheap either.
Yeah, so again, I mean, the agreement offers us concessions if we can entertain a developer when we get a proposal out. Again, preferably someone who's familiar with the process helps, but let's see, while we're doing it now, again, there are certain breaks or incentives that they can specifically request.
Yeah.
My first time being very familiar with the process, but first time I've seen this happen. Again, a lot of people just say, okay, the agreement's the agreement, but go out on their own and do something with it. Again, we'll have those options, but I want the experts to kind of help us out with it. It is exciting. Again, the location right in the middle of the residential area is what kind of drove us that, initially thinking that way.
I think it's a good call. You've also probably read the newspaper. We worked with a company called Autoport to help them find a location somewhere in Moore County for their driving resort, if you will. And when we looked around at different places, We looked at the old heart of the North Carolina Mega Park site, which is, you know, not in your jurisdiction, but obviously close by. And, worked with them, put them in contact with the owners, Jordan Lumber, and, they are under contract to purchase that property, and of course are going to the Moore County, Planning and Zoning Board, next month, September the 5th, I believe is that meeting. And they're gonna be requesting a rezoning. So to clarify or explain a little bit about kind of the rezoning process, if you will. The Moore County Land Use Plan right now designates all of that area, future use as an industrial use. So if you, which is the reason why I helped them or showed them that particular property, is because high impact outdoor recreation is an allowable use in the Moore County Industrial Zoning District today. But because the client wanted to have a restaurant and a clubhouse and a couple of other uses there on the site, they determined that they would rather do it as a planned development, as a whole plan development. And so that's why they're going to the county commissioners for that zoning request next month. So $100 million investment, 132 jobs. That does not include the part-time jobs that will be created to help accommodate the events that will be there. So they expect, you know, another, on top of the 132, another 50 to 100 part-time jobs to help with their racing events that are going to be held there. So a nice job creator with good paying wages that are above average wages here in this area. You may be aware it's also located in an opportunity zone. I think Commissioner Stewart mentioned that to the Moore County Commissioners recently, which is, you know, an area that's been designated by the state of North Carolina as a high poverty area, and therefore is eligible for some federal incentives, tax incentives, and other types of benefits to attract capital investment to those particular census tracts. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the project.
How could we as a board, a town board, support that? What would you suggest?
Well, I think one of the things that I think Chairman Paserno mentioned in the last meeting, or maybe the meeting before, was, you know, for you to have an opportunity for your residents to share whether or not, you know, they're in support or have some questions, you know, about the project. You know, I think it would be good for you, if you collectively as a board support it, you know, you could think through, are there actions you could maybe take to communicate that to the planning board and to the Moore County Board of Commissioners? I don't know.
So we draft a letter, should it be to you and your department, your office, or to?
Oh, I'm not a decision maker. You don't need to
It
draft
should
a
be
letter to me.
to the county board of commissioners, a letter of support there.
That's ultimately who's gonna make the decision, yeah.
So Natalie, is the
Yeah.
purchase of the land contingent on the outcome from the county?
The rezoning,
So it's not been purchased yet?
it's under contract.
Okay.
And they've not cleared any property yet, have they?
Oh, no
See,
activities.
Well, they don't purchase it.
I know that, but it will be the residents coming to me saying, well, they've already cleared the land. I said, no, they
No,
haven't.
you know,
I know
Jordan
they haven't,
Lumber
but-
owns the land, and they have timbered the land in the past, so, you know, there's no, you know, significant wildlife on the property. There's no endangered species there based on the reports that they've received, because it has been timbered in the past. But no,
Yeah,
no
some of those
activities
people,
taken.
I told the folks, no, it's not being cleared, but I don't know where they get their information, you know.
Yeah. But do you have any questions about the project? I'm happy to explain it. You probably read about it, you know, in the newspaper, but.
The town's involvement thus far was obviously just an introduction, with their intent and their plan, went public. They are now working on the engineering plan, which includes obviously the utilities, which we are in a conversation of, which is good. The most excitement I've seen was from the younger generation with just, again, jobs. True story, ran a guy, kid, played football and was bagging groceries down at the, Aberdeen Harris Teeter. It's like 30 miles away from him, because it's the job he had.
I think the biggest problem you got is the older folks, and I can say that because I'm old. Well, I've been to the meeting, I went to the one at First Baptist, and we had a couple there, getting stupid. That's my opinion on it, don't put that back in and you know, when you get up, and nobody's bothered you for 50 years, you know, they are concerned. And I agree to a certain degree, but they have to realize that life's gonna change whether they like it or not. That's the way I look at it. I mean, Robbins changed, I don't like it because it changed. I'm just telling you right now. I wish Milliken would have stayed there, Ithaca would have stayed there, Purdue would have stayed there. I think then we had a town. It's still a town, don't get me wrong.
No, absolutely.
But, you know what I'm saying, it's just better.
And from an administrative standpoint, if we still had those, maybe we wouldn't be so supportive.
But you know what?
Because life would be hunky-dory.
And you do, one guy, and I know him, he's really, but he's worried about the zoning part. Cause he lives right close to the, we call that, the mill up there.
The chip.
And I asked him this question, I said, well, you disapproved it, but I said, it's there, ain't it? And I said, it didn't change your property, did it? No. I said, and if the noise is a problem, I can hear the bell from my house, and I live on Emma Lane. If you sit at a house on Saturday, or not Saturday, but the week when it's nice, you can hear that thing running. But he thinks they're gonna make him, well, I know what he thinks. He thinks they're gonna make him pay more taxes, you know, like town tax.
So Natalie, can you
But that's
just,
some of the concerns, and
Yeah.
then you got some other older people, they don't like change. And I don't like a lot of changes myself, even at the age I am, but, our community needs to survive, and somehow the only way it's gonna happen is you gotta move something in. Now, I don't mean the, bars and stuff like that, I don't mean that, but what I'm talking about, you know. Biggest complaint I get is we ain't got enough restaurants to go eat in Robbins. I said, well, we gotta get some people here, we have more restaurants, but to me, we're only about 2 down since the day I was 15, 16, started eating at restaurants. We still got the same ones, there's about 3 that's gone, but, you know, be nice to have a classic restaurant, anybody wanna do it now. That's all, you know, it's just the older folks are the ones that was upset. If anybody was at that meeting with me, I think Charlie spoke to us, he'd seen him get excited, but
It was a mess.
but, well, we had one guy, and he's probably 40 years old, and he was a policeman, he said. And he was raising Cain, said that he didn't think you should have to go up there and pick up people. And I, talking about dead people being killed because of what they're gonna have up there. And I went through my mind, I said, what's your job? You're a police officer, and it's your job, if you have to go to where somebody's killed, you gotta go. I mean, and you need I think that's a poor excuse. You know, it's their job to make it safe, and I think they will, because they said they're gonna have a security system, so that's one plus right there. That's all I gotta say.
so can you, just briefly, because I was not able to attend any of the meetings, what kind of events are they planning on having that'll be open for the public?
So, they plan on, allowing at least, currently, right now, drive days. So if you have a Ford Mustang and you wanna drive your Ford Mustang on the track, you can. So public drive days, you bring your own car. They wanna have concerts, you know, festivals, car shows, things like that. They will have, racing events. They're planning to have kind of 4 larger racing events per year, that could attract up to 10,000 people. And then 8 smaller events, weekends only, of course. And so those are some of the things. They talked about, they would really love to see, like road races, like a 10K road race out there, bicycle races, those kinds of things.
Didn't you, you also talked to possibility of partnering with Northmore and Sand Hills Community College too, right?
Yeah, they do want to do motorsports vocation programs there for hands-on training for students. They also want to open the facility for your police, fire, and county EMS to train out there on the facility
Don't
as
do
well.
that.
Don't do that?
Some of these boys can't drive.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
I hope that helps.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
was looking at the GIS,
Mhm.
and the Jordan area is over 800 acres. They're purchasing under 400, is that?
Yeah, a little under 400.
And they're gonna develop.
200.
200. So they're gonna have that big of a buffer.
Mhm.
They're gonna be out in the middle of that big plot
Big tract.
by themselves with all those trees as a buffer. There's not gonna be a noise issue.
I don't think so either.
They have and have submitted to the planning board. Driven International out of England is the one that's designing the track. And they've completed a sound study. And basically it outlines the strategies that they could employ to minimize sound. And those range from monitoring the decibel level of the car before it goes on the track, and then having monitoring stations located on the track as well, so if the car goes over a certain level, there's a notification. There's also other strategies, earthen berms, sound panels, they're all outlined in there, and I think that, they're willing to commit to meet the Moore County's requirements for noise and enforce it.
But most of that property is surrounded by trees.
Woods, yes,
And
undeveloped.
I've got a tree farm too, standing timber and an orchard, and they've never complained about the city noise.
The trees.
No, they haven't.
Tell them to come to public comment. I will say the most exciting questions we've gotten was more just relative to the schools, younger people, excited about something a little different and opportunities. One of the endeavors to talk about was e-racing facility, which is like a huge thing. Like, I'm not my thing, but it's pretty cool. But I want to say publicly, because there's a lot of things. This is the first company in our almost 3 years here that's come here with a plan and didn't ask for anything. They said, we have a project, we have the money, and we want to do it. Not if you do this or give me this. I mean, they have a plan. They're executing it, and want to be involved with the local community. So,
We've lost several potential businesses that have come into it. How much land are you gonna give us, or you gonna give us a building, or, they always want a handout. This group hasn't done that. They've got the money, they're gonna do it, and not big.
Now, I don't know if you know, but they're from Raleigh, so they're North Carolinians, and they plan to move here to Moore County when this facility's
Well,
built. They want to be residents of
They'll be
this
from
county.
Raleigh against them.
Yeah, don't want to be against them.
I would not do Raleigh.
But if you have any questions, or if you get questions from your citizens and you don't know the answers, please feel free to call me anytime. I'm happy to share what I know.
Someone said the other night that Robbins would not benefit from it, and I disagree, because
Yeah.
we'll have collateral businesses, they're gonna come in town wanting auto parts. And, I've worked for 2 guys that had a machine shop in the back of their garage, and they became millionaires. They're gonna need, I've worked in the racing industry for 20 years. Mechanical things will break, and they're gonna need machinists. And, that's something that, collateral businesses that could grow here also to complement that.
But it also brings people from outside in to look at our area. I mean, it is a huge marketing
Yeah.
opportunity for the area.
And I think if you as a community made those downtown improvements, you know, that plan looks really good. You know, and if you, when the public makes those types of investments in the appearance of the community, private investment typically will follow that. And then you've got the tourism aspect of it, right? People coming in, like you said, for the races, they're gonna need places to eat. And so, you know, Commissioner English, you might get some of those restaurants that you'd like to see.
Fire department get, them to sponsor a Farmer's Day.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you won't believe, the guy said that, he didn't say Farmer's Day, but he said if you got something,
Yeah.
just bring me the paperwork, and he said, we'll look at it. And he said, we love doing that, so, you know, you get every penny you can, because everybody else is gonna get every penny they can from you.
Clint, may I say something?
Yes, Mayor, is that okay?
Yes.
They produced a video that's online
Mm-hmm.
that shows all of this.
Yeah, Autoport
And it's
USA.
eye-opening. I mean, it is eye-opening. It really is.
The link I sent out, I'll send it again. They constantly update that site, literally all the time. And has almost every question that's been said publicly, they address it with the facts, which is, they're very proactive. And again, I met with some of the opposition, very nice guy, I just wanted to pick his brain. No big deal, very nice, understood his point of view, but basically it was just, he has no, just doesn't like it there. Simple as that, you know.
Yeah, we all have-
We're worrying about the whole town, not individuals.
Can you update us on what the utilities might mean to us?
Well, at construction, they're looking at 80 to 100,000 gallons, so,
Per what?
per day. Which, as I've talked in the past, my 10-year plan of like basically house by house to get to that level will be solved overnight. You know, running water lines all over, asking the state for help all over the rural areas, you know, is kind of a Hail Mary throw, but it's a plan, but this really facilitates that. So we ain't gotta work, we have a water customer potentially, that's no longer an issue. You know, the amount of water we get is adequate, and we could probably even get more. But yeah, distributing that water, will be a huge relief to our Fund 30, and in a sense, you know, we've supplemented through depreciation costs and all that stuff from Fund 10. This will offset because it'll be more self-sustaining than it ever has been, period. I think it'll make, y'all's lives a lot easier if we weren't counting, you know, every single 100 gallons. But again,
Since we're talking about water, I got a complaint.
yes, sir.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I'm gonna bring it up. Over on Emma Lane, it's probably my house, only one. The water smells like sewer. I'm just telling you what it is.
Yeah.
And we talked to my wife, she's the one that uses it all the time. I'll run my water with you.
I do want to clarify, just in case there's any.
And it hadn't been, it hadn't been that way, Clint. It just
Yeah.
started again, it's been about a month,
Okay.
come back.
Anytime, I want to hear that, we'll have somebody test it like immediately.
Well, my wife wanted me to tell it. I told her. When I take a shower, I don't smell it. I don't drink it.
Yeah, we'll send out there and test it. We want it to be good. Test it.
Charlie, you have a question, sir?
I just got a comment. This racetrack is not a golf course coming in.
Yeah. Okay.
Hallelujah.
Well, I have a quick question. Maybe a lot of people here don't have as much knowledge as some of you have. I haven't been able to make a lot of meetings. But has anybody that actually lives inside the city limits of Robbins come out strongly against the racetrack?
I haven't heard
Anybody knows
anybody
of?
personally.
It's always.
The only naysayer I hear of, the biggest ones, don't live in.
I was just asking if they did, 'cause,
He
I've
lives-
seen a lot of
he lives
benefit.
in space.
I'd just like to hear from somebody that actually lives in town and say, hey, this is not gonna benefit Robbins. I haven't seen anybody yet. So all I've heard is benefits. And that's what we gotta ask ourselves as a board is, will it benefit the people here who elected us to represent them?
Well, the people that's coming there's got money. And when I say the guys bringing cars that's coming in, they got money. Well, one of them, Mike Robbins, and he said, I'm gonna build a classic. I'm gonna use that for your example, because it's a buffet type place, but, that's what I look for, you know.
Well, we can be honest, the history of Robbins is, a rich guy came down from New York, played golf, didn't like it, came up here to hunt, and now we're Robbins, Carl Robbins. That's the history of the town. I mean, one gentleman who doesn't live in town here, he just didn't like it, blah, blah, blah. I said, look, how old are you, sir? He said, 67. I said, yeah. If I got to explain to you that at 67 years old, that money makes the world go round, it's a little late for you to understand that. And he said, you know what, I agree with you. And that's just the way it is, you know.
Does any other questions
Yeah,
for
Natalie.
Natalie?
She had something else to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, cause I've heard some confusion from people who've asked me questions. The plan is to have a 3-mile winding track, right? So it's not an oval NASCAR track, it's not a drag strip,
It's like a road track.
it's a road course. And they're gonna have car condos, so I've had people think that those are condos that people live in. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood that, the car condos are condominiums that house vehicles, not people. So, while there will be, or their plans are to have a little layover area in case somebody wants to lay down and rest.
Plus they're gonna build a hotel too, ain't
That's not, they're asking for that approval if in the future it makes sense to do that, but that's not currently in
Well, he just said it that night.
in their plan, yeah. They're asking for it, but,
Well, man caves or she sheds, basically.
yeah.
And what they're calling a car condo is like a really nice garage area.
Air conditioned,
heated,
Right.
heated
Okay.
floors.
And I think that might be what's confused people.
It is. It's a garage.
Right,
It's
right.
basically a
really nice, yeah.
really nice
Okay.
garage. Yeah.
Have you heard any, do you have any idea of what one of these, because someone asked me, what one of those condos would cost? Any projection?
I do not know that
Okay.
information. I think they're still working through the whole, financial model. I don't think they've published any information about what they cost. And there are different levels, so, I mean, it could be, they'll have car condos and garages. So if you had 2 collector cars that you just wanted to store in a garage, you can rent a 2-car garage there. Or if you had 16, cars that were over $500,000 a piece and you wanted to park all 16 of them there, you could get,
Like me.
you could get that.
2016 Toyota Chevrolet.
You could park that there too.
Toyota and
Chevrolet.
Chevrolet, put them all in there.
Right.
Okay.
So they'll have various levels,
Yeah,
right,
they-
different
They
sizes.
said something about membership too.
Uh-huh.
Membership,
Yeah.
one was 4,000, one was 2,000. Did Charlie, got that, 2,000, 4,000?
That's fine. There it is.
Me and Charlie been going.
And so there's no confusion, I think someone mentioned, there's a completely separate car race thing related in Carthage. Cameron, excuse me,
Cameron.
completely
Yeah.
different,
Yeah,
2 separate.
2 separate groups. We worked with that group 3 years ago. And it's a totally different project. It's not even the same thing.
So any other questions for Natalie moving forward? Any other questions for our manager and his report? Thank you, Clint. Thank you, Natalie, for coming with us and clarifying so much. We appreciate
Can I
that.
tell you one other thing
Oh,
that's
yes, please
unrelated
do.
to this? I think we might have the old Citus building getting repurposed in the near future.
Oh,
So, that's all I can say about that.
good. Well, thank you for all that you and your team do. We appreciate it very much.
To be
They
continued.
have got better.
You're
How you like that? Because I've been around here a while, so I know. They have got better.
All right.
Okay, then, well, next item on our agenda is an opportunity for commissioners' comments. Brandon, I'll start with you.
Oh, yeah, I just want to thank the, Public Works, Fire, Police, Administration. I got nothing but compliments on how the town performed during the storm. All the emergency services worked excellent and did a very good job.
One more thing, I'll say this too. On Emma Lane, I'm taking up Emma Lane because I live there. They tore the road up. Have you got a phone call on that yet?
No, I'll take a look at it.
Well, I got two phone
I'm on
calls.
the
What's
way.
your comment?
Where they were in the yards, correct?
Well, they ain't in the yard, it's on, that road's a state road,
Right.
and I already called the state myself, because I don't think the town have to do it. My opinion on
No,
it,
it shouldn't.
you know, but I ain't seen no results, I ain't been looked at today, but, I think either whoever did the repairs, they need to fix it, or the state needs
Yeah.
to fix it. That's all I'm gonna say. I know there's a lady that lives in front of, behind where they tore the road up, she's excited, but, I thought she'd call me.
No, but
Because
tell her.
I didn't tell her to call you,
No.
I told her that, I told them all that called me, I said, you need to call the state,
Yeah.
or call,
We've got the
New
maintenance for the
Energy.
state.
Now, I could've done that, but
We'll
I,
take care of it.
I started to call Cameron and tell him to do it, put it back on his back, they used to do that to me. The guy that got in charge now, I don't know him, but the one they had before, he was really receptive for helping Robbins
Yeah.
whenever we had a storm. I've been here involved in the storms for at least 12 years, and, I got me a generator for my house to quit solve the problem at my place. But, I've never seen them take this long to fix a line of rock. It's the worst I've ever seen.
We'll let them know.
Since I started keeping up with it, but, I just think they should see what they did when they messed the road up. I mean, they should have fixed it. Shouldn't have to tell nobody that. A contractor, when he leaves, he should be just like it when he got there,
Yeah, should be.
no matter what.
But
Yeah.
I know how it works. They did the electric, then they're gonna come back behind with a different subcontractor.
Yeah.
But I'll make sure we're on that list that they're coming and let you know.
My comment is, patience is a virtue. And Natalie, thank you once again
You're
for
welcome.
coming with us.
My
It's
pleasure.
very informative. And Clint, I want to thank you and everyone in the town who worked during the storm. I know your day started, you say 3 a.m.?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Wherever Timmy got the call.
It was a long day. And thank you for all that you do, and I appreciate it very much. Nikki?
I want to say thank you to everybody that worked on Farmer's Day. I think, other than the weather not cooperating, everything went really, really well. I guess we were lucky during the storm, but I know that you guys were out all weekend, during the week. So thank you for that, and just let everybody know that we appreciate them, especially the town workers that are out. I see them out all the time. And I get lots of enjoyment from our police department. Because I see so much, like you said, stops. So, thank y'all.
Jody?
Second,
Kevin?
Yeah, well, thank you, Natalie, for coming. Thanks for you and your staff, what y'all do to try to get some business and industry in this area. Also, I want to thank the fire department, chief, and the Firefighter Association for their hard work. Farmers Day again, another good event, and the storm. They were on standby for the swift water rescue. Did y'all ever get called out on one? But they were ready, they were prepared and ready to go, so I appreciate that. Appreciate the police department, their hard work at Farmers Day and getting all the flooded signs up and all that. And the town employees, thank them also, Clint, for hard work they did. I really appreciate it.
Okay. At this time, we do have, I didn't talk to you, Clint, I don't know if you'd planned to, but I'd like to call closed session for a few minutes. It's kind of important. So I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are now in closed session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we get involved, that's
Once
for
we
sure.
get like the one incident right
You know,
there.
yeah, my guys, I just broke loose.
Said,
I'm gonna pass it on to you, but we've got to.
I'm trying to make it go.
Used to, they called me.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that'd be, it was, we got.
There's a phone right there.
Yeah, we'll get that.
It's probably, it'll go to them.
No brand of mercy.
It's not emergency call.
We'll get a fresh copy for you there and a cover letter.
First thing it says, if this is emergency, hang
Oh,
on,
no.
no.
Okay, now that our guests are walking back in, we'll entertain a motion to go into open session.
I make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we have a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we draft and adopt a letter in economic development support of the auto court facility.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone oppose? That is unanimous, the motion carries. If there's no further business, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Made that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Good meeting.
You got anything else, man?
No, man.
Okay.
Is that a, stuff that